think I mentioned this earlier, but you always have to remember to apply an audio transition when you make a cut. So
Okay.
that's the most important fundamentals of audio too, is that if you don't apply a transition, what you may hear sometimes is an audio clip. So it'll be a little tick like that, and it's distracting, and it's one of the more key signs of an amateur editor. Somebody who's just starting off, intermediate. So we go over to our effects tab, and we could select from audio transitions and crossfade, and you could either do constant gain or constant power, but I would recommend just sticking with constant gain.
Okay.
And you would apply that for about 2 to 3 frames on each end of the clip. So you could do it either 1 frame or
Yeah.
2 frames. So that would amount to 4 seconds in totality of the actual constant gain transition. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And now this is how it looks.
That I have like this. Now part 3 is a
And now let's hear it without that very simple transition.
standing desk that I have like this. Now part 3 is a stand.
It's
I can see that.
not
I can see that
apparent,
dip.
but sometimes it is. So we always want to make sure that we transition our audio. But it can be incredibly annoying to transition all of these clips one by one. So what we do is that once you have all your cuts applied, let's say hypothetically I have a cut here and I could just bring that together. Let's say all my audio transitions aren't applied yet. But I have it on one section right here. Let's say it's right here, right? Now I want to apply it to all of the cuts of my video. All I have to do is just hold Control V and then drag over with the select tool on all of these cuts. And now you'll see before there was no constant gain applied, and now there is. So it's super simple.
Easy way.
Exactly. And now also I was saying earlier is that you could either cut out the air gaps, there's more conversational style editing where you leave in a lot of the errors, or there's more fine-tuned social media editing, and I feel like that's what you're more leaning toward, right?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and address what you would remove in that instance. So let's just listen to one specific section of dialogue here, and then I'll give you an idea of what I would cut out personally. So
Number 2, if you can't take the meeting on your phone when you're walking outside.
So you heard right there ever so slightly that in between him talking, he breathed. And that's normal to breathe when we speak, right? But the more that you listen for it, the more that you're going to hear it, and it can become ever so slightly distracting. You could either leave those in, or you could remove them entirely, and then you'll realize that it makes your dialogue that much more punchy when there's no breathing in between the sections of dialogue. So I'll just drag that out entirely. If I look at my audio track, it's specifically right here. It's that little bit of dead air in between him speaking. So I'll just remove that entirely. And then I'll see another section of it. Once you've done this enough, you'll be able to see the specific points of dead air.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend looking for them just yet. Just listen for them first, and then when you're able to recognize them, you remove them. So I'll cut right here. And typically what I like to do is I let the first clip where I apply the first cut drag on like a frame or two extra, and then the second where the next section is going to start, you start right on the word, right at the beginning of the audio. I'm not starting here. I'm starting right at the beginning of where he's speaking on the audio track. So now in order to converge these two clips, because I cut this dead air, right, I'll just click delete on my keyboard right there. And then I'll select the dead air section where there's empty space on my timeline, and I'll click delete, and it converges.
Delete.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now let's hear how these sound with constant gain applied.
Number 2, if you can't take the meeting on your phone when you're walking outside, then buy a treadmill desk. These things you can get for around $200, and you can literally, if you wanted to, be walking all day right at your desk.
So
let's move. Let's go.
It feels like he just keeps talking.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you want for editing in terms of like social media. You don't want it to be that they're starting and stopping and that they're breathing and so on and so forth, because it doesn't feel immediate. and it needs to be incredibly snappy when you're watching on these types of platforms. You know, people are gonna swipe up after a bit. You know, that's
Yeah.
it's just common nature. You know, so
Yeah. True.
just something to keep in mind. But yeah, you want to typically remove those air gaps, those filler, like these dead air sections, and sometimes what you could even remove is filler words. So if they say you know, like things like that where it's not essential to the actual clip itself, you just remove it. Or even at the beginning, sometimes people might say, so now, you know, like
Yeah.
these type of like keywords that are just filler. It's so much more impactful to just jump into what you're saying, you know? So instead of saying, now, let's talk about this, you just say, let's talk about this. Sounds more like you know what you're talking about.